yesterday. Sometimes fighters overhydrate and leaves them a little bit sluggish. We've seen some poor performances, but Peterson certainly looks sharp enough, but setting the pace as you always want to do, especially boxing away from home.
My bad.
And obviously if you're sluggish, that's the worst possible way to be against Amir Khan, whose main weapon is speed. And he's looked really sharp in training. Peterson goes for the big right hand over the top, misses by a mile. And Khan catches Peterson there. And a big right hand from Khan. And now you can hear the Khan fans in the crowd. This is a positive start from the double champion.
I think Peterson thought the referee was calling break there. He seemed to go to sleep and lose his way. Protect yourself at all times. Well, I was looking for signs of sluggishness. He certainly his thinking was sluggish there.
Hold on. The press conference is starting soon. They're running a little late, so we're gonna watch a little bit of this while I finish setting stuff up. So it's supposed to start at 1 p.m., but normally, you know, it don't start until like 1:15 or like 15 minutes after or something like that. So in the meantime, we're gonna chill and watch this until the press conference starts. So it's going to start within the next 15 minutes. We're going to be watching it here live. All right? So relax, chill out. What was I doing?
And again, another shot, a left hand. And that was not a slip.
Well, I thought that was a knockdown.
Yeah.
I would have called a knockdown there.
That's controversial from Joe Cooper, because I'm sure a left hand landed from Khan.
Peterson struggling with the speed of Khan this early.
Well, even if it was ruled a slip, I don't think that's going to bother Khan. He knows he can catch him and hurt him. It's a very positive start from Amir Khan.
Yeah, well, he's done everything right. Has not allowed his challenger to do anything to gain confidence. So quick, so accurate. Tremendous opening round from Khan.
But before we all go getting carried away with the possibility of an early finish, and it could happen, of course, there's a real streak of toughness about Lamont Peterson. He's climbed off the floor against Victor Ortiz twice to earn a draw. He climbed off the floor against Timothy Bradley and went the distance. But Khan is hitting hard, he's hitting with accuracy, and he is showing terrific speed.
See, Peterson is a thinking fighter, and quite often thinking fighters need a couple of...
And another right hand, and that wasn't a slip. The first one wasn't, the second one definitely wasn't. And Peterson is in a bad place.
Can't deal with the speed. Got to get his defences tighter. He's too busy trying to hurt Khan, but maybe he should be getting his head clear.
You could see it in Peterson's eyes as he took that count. What is happening in there? You could see it, he was struggling. What a start from Amir Khan. Not sure any of us expected that.
Real positive start from Amir Khan. His speed is just bamboozling. You know, Peterson can't even get into the fight. He just can't gauge the speed of Khan. It's blistering hand speed.
Well, when I heard that Peterson has put...
For those who don't know, what we're doing is the press conference is going to be starting in about 15 minutes. They normally, you know, start... If they say they're going to start at 1 o'clock, which it is now, they normally don't start until like 1:15 or so. So, you know, they're like gathering the crowd, people there eating and everything. I was supposed to go today, but I'm not. Tomorrow, I'm going to go to the Cotto one because it's his last press conference. You know, so I'm already booked for that. But I wasn't going to go to New York 2 days straight. To hell with that. So, like I said, we're just watching this in the meantime until it starts. And I'm setting up other things and getting me some my highly caffeinated 2 tea bag, extra lemon, extra cough drops tea. So just chill, relax. We're going to watch the press conference live. Let me check and see if it started yet. So I'm going to say the same shit every like 3 to 5 minutes or so until the press conference starts. So they're going to be... Oh, wait, they're live. Hold on. Oh, no, they're not live yet. It's just a little promo. You want to see? It's just a little promo. So they're starting soon. So in the meantime, here's right here. Wait, where we go? Desktop region. Hold on, no, there. Yeah, so it's not live yet. This is from the page. So just chill, relax. We're gonna watch this some more of this Peterson Khan throwback fight, and then we're gonna start. Please subscribe.
15 pounds on between the weigh-in yesterday. I mean, some people sitting at home and think that's impossible, but no, it's not impossible. I just think that's one of the reasons it was so sluggish.
Can y'all read the chat on the screen? It seems a little small. I'm gonna make the text bigger. You know, it seems a little small. So, like I said, the press conference is gonna be starting soon. Everybody relax. I got it right here. You know, so we're just playing this until the press conference start. So we'll get y'all something to drink. We're gonna chill. We're gonna talk about everything. I got a lot of news to talk about. Especially to give y'all, you know, I guess you could say one of the final updates of the year, you know, before I go on and like, you know, start doing videos every day. So, like I said, I took a nap yesterday and I didn't get my Amtrak ticket on time. So by the time I went to go get the $58 ticket from Philly to New York, it was sold out. So the next one was $186. I wasn't paying that shit. Fuck that. So I was supposed to be there today. And I'm definitely going to be in New York tomorrow for the Cotto press conference because this is the last one. You know, you got to pay homage, I guess. So just chill out. We're waiting for the press conference to start. In the meantime, watch this shit while I do other shit in the background.
He could not get out of the way of the punches. He couldn't respond with his own punches. He was trying to come back with power. It wasn't working. Tremendous opener for Khan, and I think he was robbed of 2 knockdowns. Here we go.
Yep. His feet did slip a little bit, and the referee was in the middle of it as well.
Yeah, well, the inside of the glove seemed to land from the left hand, and then the right hand landed a bit higher. Here we go, that there. Well, maybe the referee with a better view, maybe he did get it right. Looks more like the elbow that knocked him over.
I think Amir just needs to be careful of those big wide hooks that Peterson tries to throw every time he finishes the combination. I mean, he's boxing really well, but that's the only thing he needs to watch out for at this stage.
Barry Hunter in Lamont Peterson's corner, tried to settle him down, saying stop loading up with every punch. They concentrated on movement during the preparation for this one at the Wildcard Gym, Freddie Roach. We saw it during a couple of training sessions here. There was that step to the side, keeping him on the outside, always moving. And then whipping in these right hands. But he's scoring freely with both fists here, Khan.
He's just too quick for Peterson. Peterson cannot get out of the way of the punches.
And every punch that lands solid shakes Peterson to his boots. Decent right hand from Peterson. He needs a lot more of those. That's a bit better. But Khan just zings in one of those rights downstairs, and then he's gone.
For Peterson to have success, he needs to get close, but Khan doesn't just have blistering hand speed, his foot movement is so quick as well.
Yep, exactly, and he's catching Peterson as he comes forward. I was just about to say, sometimes thinking fighters need a couple of rounds to get into a fight. They don't start quickly. Peterson is known as a slow starter, but that's been exaggerated tonight. I'm really worried about this story about the 15 pounds weight that he's put on.
Khan with another right hand. And Peterson backing up and trying to regroup and refocus.
See, Peters is not used to fighters who throw so many punches. He's a counter puncher, so he slips inside the jab and counters, but when the opponent's throwing 3 and 4 punches, no chance to counter. Excellent tactics from Khan.
Loading up with a right hand and missing again.
Yeah, and he can't wait for Khan to punch and then him punch, because he's too quick. He has to punch when Khan punches, and it's very hard when you throw combinations to counter.
Yeah, Khan's showing a little feint there before he throws the punch. His technique spot on.
Well, he let the punches go there, Peterson, and Khan's response was positive. But just a sense that Peterson is starting to settle down a little bit here. The only way is up for him, surely, after that torrid opening round.
Yeah, he's getting a little bit closer. Khan trading a little bit more with him, not using the...
Well, where the hell is the sound? They got to fix the sound. That's not on my end. We're waiting for them to fix the sound. That's not on my end. So as you can see, they still setting up.
Errol Spence Jr. He is the champion. 27,000 have packed this stadium here in Sheffield. Errol Spence Jr. smelling blood on the attack. Sagging the moves of Errol Spence. Young and Spence is pouring it on. In front of the pro crowd, Spence proved his accolades were warranted. And down goes Cowboy. Errol Spence Jr. becomes IBF welterweight champion. With title in hand, Spence prepares for his next challenge.
I'm fighting the top 5 welterweight. Lamont Peterson is a strong, gritty, experienced fighter. He is fought the best, and I can't wait to beat him.
Peterson also made headlines in 2017 by capturing a version of the welterweight title. Lamont Peterson, now a 2-division champion. Spence sees this fight as a way to stake his claim in the best and deepest division in boxing.
I'm ready to conquer the division and become the undisputed welterweight champion of the world.
The countdown has begun to a key matchup in this star-studded weight class. This January, Spence and Peterson will be looking to establish a top position in the welterweight division's hierarchy.
Again, it is a fight you don't want to miss. You can see it on Showtime Championship Boxing, January 20th. We'll begin the press conference now. Let me bring up the promoter of this fight, promoter extraordinaire, one of the best in the business. We call him Sweet Lou. He's the president and CEO of DeBella Entertainment, the one and only Lou DeBella.
Thank you. Yeah, can I ask anybody to come to the dais? Lamont, Errol, Brett, Steven, Lindsay Tucker from the IBF. Thank you to the busiest man in sports TV for introducing me. Every time I turn on some basketball game, I mean, any channel, I see Brian Custer. And I feel a little bit responsible for getting him into combat sports, at which he's one of the best also. Welcome to the press conference for Spence Peterson.
They got to sort their sound out. That's not on my side. Their sound is off. Hold on. They got to sort their sound out. That's not on my side. That's on their side.
Lower boxing than Errol Spence and Lamont Peterson. It'll be Showtime Championship Boxing, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Time, presented by Premier Boxing Champions. Tickets for the live event are priced starting at $50. They can be purchased at Ticketmaster.com by calling 1-800-745-3000 or at the American Express box office here at the Barclays Center. You can also get group discounts by calling the Barclays Center. Errol Spence, right now, one of the most talked about fighters in all of the sport. Many consider him to be not only the best welterweight in the world, but perhaps the best fighter in the world. He's made it consistent that he only wants to fight the best, that he only wants to fight the top welterweights in the world. And on January 20th, he will be fighting another champion and one of the great welterweights in the world today in Lamont Peterson. It's a great event. Again, it continues what I've been talking about I've been lucky enough to be able to talk about for the last couple of years, which is the run of significant, meaningful, the best versus the best kind of matchups on Showtime Championship Boxing. It's been consistent, the quality of programming on Showtime. The fight cards have all been incredibly easy to promote because the fights on paper have been so strong and usually in the ring have wound up being so entertaining. You need to make fights where great fighters are fighters in order to give fans what they need to see and to help energize our sport. So I'd like to bring up the man I think that's most responsible for this great run, Stephen Espinoza.
Thanks, Lou. As we come to the end of 2017 and look back on what has been a really strong year, a year we're very proud of at Showtime Championship Boxing, 25 nights of live boxing this year, 80 live boxing matches, 27 world title fights, and not just world title fights, but world title fights of top-ranked challengers and top-ranked champions, names versus names. These are competitively matched fights. We've brought you the highest rated, most watched fight of the year in Thurman versus Garcia here, right here at Barclays Center on CBS, is also the most watched primetime boxing match in nearly 20 years. So we're very proud of what we've achieved, but we're not going to rest on our laurels. We will be kicking off next year right here at Barclays with an incredibly strong card. Errol Spence Jr., someone who is sort of grown up on Showtime. We're very proud of that as well. He made his pro debut on ShowBox back following the 2012 Olympics. He won his world title on Showtime, and now he's making his first defense on Showtime. He has knocked out 9 straight opponents as his level of opposition has steadily increased. In fact, over the last 5 fights, his opponents have had a record of 141, 7-3. And of course, 9 straight knockouts, including those 5. He is in the pound for pound on virtually all pound for pound lists in the top 10. So suffice it to say that not a lot of fighters are rushing to fight Errol Spence. But Lamont Peterson not only stepped up to the challenge, but he was so ready to take the fight that he actually relinquished a world title. He relinquished the WBA title to take this fight. That's the kind of fighter Lamont Peterson has always been. He's got one of the strongest resumes in the welterweight division. He's a 2-division champion at 140, 147. And he's fought some of the best fighters in the sport, from Danny Garcia to Amir Khan to Timothy Bradley. We're thrilled that we're kicking off the year in 2018 with this matchup. It's yet another top 10 versus top 10 matchup in the welterweight division, a division that we've been focused on for a couple of years now. We're very excited. We'll see you on January 20th here. The welterweight division, he's a 2-division champion.
It's not often that I acknowledge a ratings organization, and frankly, I only do business with a couple of them. And one of the reasons why Lindsey Tucker is up here, he's chosen not to say anything, but I'm going to say some stuff for him. Obviously, Errol Spence Jr. is the IBF champion. Lamont Peterson was the IBF 140-pound champion. So both of these fighters have a history with the IBF. And the one thing you can say about the IBF is that the IBF has a set of rules and that they adhere to their own rules. And rules aren't written every day. So it's a pleasure to have the IBF associated with this great fight, and it's always a pleasure to work with you, Lindsey, and Darryl, and everyone at the IBF. So thank you. Now my pleasure to throw over to my friend at the end of the dais, who's going to stay where he is and speak from that microphone. This building has a tremendous affinity for boxing as a part of its programming. They've created a franchise with Brooklyn Boxing. That's because they care about the sport and they view the sport as one of their categories that's meaningful to them, and they look for consistency and excellence in the boxing that is held here. And I'm thankful for Brett Yormark and for everyone at the Barclays Center and Brooklyn Boxing for their tremendous enthusiasm for our sport. Thanks, Brett.
Thank you, Lou. First, I need to apologize for the frigid air in the building today. This is hockey week, and if Lou and Steven would give me 44 nights of boxing, we might not have hockey here, so maybe that's something to think about. But anyway, we're coming off an incredible 2017 for Brooklyn Boxing. I mean, it far exceeded my expectations, 50-50 fights, and obviously thanks to Lou and Steven, they helped to make it happen. And as Lou said, we're very committed to boxing, not just now, but in the future. And this fight in January really kicks off what I think will be an incredible 2018 for Brooklyn Boxing. Lamont I don't know if you know this, buddy, but you were on the first ever PBC card here in 2015, so welcome back. Brooklyn's happy to have you and look forward to seeing you in January. And Errol was here in the spring of 2016. So Errol, obviously we've had you here as a fan quite a few times, but we prefer having you in the ring. So thank you, and we look forward to having you here next month. Barclays Center truly has been known to host 50-50 fights, and this is no different. I mean, this is a world-class event, and we're just thrilled to be able to host it here in Brooklyn. Again, you know, our business, Brooklyn Boxing, has been built on the partnerships that we have with Lou and Steven Espinoza and the PBC, so thank you all for all of your support, and we look forward to seeing you on January 20th here in Brooklyn. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Let me introduce the fighters and the trainers. And you, of course, see on January 20th. And let me start to my immediate left, to your right. He's the trainer of Errol Spence Jr. Derek James was also a fighter himself. Nasty super middleweight at one time.
Years ago.
Quickly has established himself as one of the best young trainers in boxing. Personal opinion, should be trainer of the year for what he's done this year. Trains WBC champion Jermell Charlo, turned him into a knockout machine. He's trained Errol Spence since he was a teenager. He's from Dallas, Derek James. And his fighter, he's the champion. He's the IBF welterweight champion of the world. Won the title, as you saw, in grand fashion. Went across the pond to Kell Brook's hometown of Sheffield, England. Stopped him in the 11th round in May. Brought back the title here to the States. He was an Olympian. He's undefeated, 22-0, 19 knockouts. His third time fighting here in Brooklyn. First as champion. Many consider him the future of the welterweight division. His moniker certainly fits him. He is the truth. Errol Spence Jr. To his right, the challenger, two-weight division world champion. Won world titles at 140 pounds and at 147 pounds in February of this year. In fact, as you heard Steven say, he gave up the title just so he could take this fight. He's fought some of the biggest names in boxing: Amir Khan, Tim Bradley, Lucas Matisse, Danny Garcia. This will be his third time fighting here in Brooklyn. He is 35-3-1. He's got 17 knockouts. His moniker, Havoc, Lamont Peterson. And his trainer. When you talk about elite trainers, world-class trainers, you have to mention Barry Hunter. He also trains Lamont's brother, Anthony Peterson. He owns the famous Headbangers Gym in Washington, D.C. So many champions train at Headbangers. It is known across the world. He is Mr. Barry Hunter. Guys, let's have a conversation. And Lamont, let me start with you. Because in my intro, I talked about some of the biggest names in boxing that you've already faced. Now you're taking on a young lion, many consider the next great welterweight. What does this fight mean to you at this stage of your career?
Well, for me, I try not to make too much out of it. You know, it's a world title fight, and I'm thankful for that. I just try to take a fight at a time. I've been fighting, 13 years as a professional now, so to me, all fights are the same. I'm just happy to be getting the opportunity to fight for another world title, and I'm just going there and try to take care of business.
Not too many guys are lining up, though, to fight Errol Spence.
Of course.
A number of big names who said no, but you gave up your title for this fight. Why?
Because I feel like it's, as a top fighter, top 10 fighter, you're obligated to take what comes on the table. And regardless of, who it is, like Earl's cool, Derek is cool. Like, we can box in a boxing ring. We don't have to be, I don't have to be mad at him, or he don't have to be mad at me, or we have to feel some type of way. It's boxing. It's a sport. And we competitors, and we're going to go in there and compete. Like, if it's left to me, we'll be friends before, and we'll be friends after. But when we're in the ring, we're going to take care of business like we always do.
Errol, you're coming off a dramatic victory to win the title. Will we see that sharp Errol Spence that we've seen here in the past? One who's certainly not content just being a champion, or will we see a guy who may be looking down the road because everyone's talking about Errol Spence and Keith Thurman?
You don't see the same Spence. I can't look down the road because I know how dangerous Lamont Peterson is. He's somebody I've been watching since the amateurs. He's somebody I used to study when I was an amateur. I've been in training camps with him. I know what Lamont can do. I've seen him fight. So, I've seen too many fighters look down the road, and then the guy that right in front of them end up beating them, and then they can't get those big fights because they lost. So I'm going to focus on what's in front of me, and that's Lamont Peterson. That's a big task at hand, so I have to be 100% focused and hungry and dedicated for this training camp and for this fight. You will see a hungry Errol Spence Jr.
I just think stylistically, this fight is really interesting. Only for the simple fact you got two of the best body punchers in boxing going at it in this fight. In your mind, Errol, how do you see January 20th playing out in the ring?
I think it'll probably start as a boxing match, but I think at the end it's gonna end up as a dog fight, man. That's what we both got big hearts, man. Like, I never known Lamont to duck any competition. I never known or seen anything on social media saying, "Oh, Lamont turned down this fight, Lamont did this and did that." Like you said, it's not a lot of fighters that wanted to fight me. Those big names in the welterweight division, they all, got their call to see, did they want their fight. And a lot of them shied away from it. Most of them did. And Lamont stood up and said, "Yeah, I'll fight him." He vacated his belt for it. And, he has a big heart and he's a dog. So, and I have a big heart and I'm a dog too. So we're probably going to start out boxing, but at the end, it's going to be a fight.
Lamont, same question to you. Two of the best body punchers in boxing. How's this fight going to play out in your mind?
Same way he said, same thing he said. You already know, when most times I fight, it's going to be a filling out process, but the whole time I can tell you this, it's in my head, we're going to fight. And bottom line, that's probably what's going to happen.
I thought it was interesting, you heard Errol say you guys have trained together. He talked about when he was an amateur, he worked out with you. He said you gave him some tips and throwing different punches, things of that nature. When you look at Errol now, you see any of the flaws that you saw when he was a young buck? Those flaws, things that you can exploit come January 20th?
Nah, I kind of knew at the time that, it was 6 years ago that he would be at this point. He'll be a world champion. I saw a lot of talent in him. You correct certain little things. That's just little things. But for the most part, I've seen improvement. I've seen progression throughout the pro ranks, and I think he'll continue to get better.
What gives you your biggest confidence in this fight?
Just me. I just know who I am. I know I'm a competitor, competitive person, and regardless of what, you come to win. So that's what gives me faith, hope.
Billy, when these guys step into the ring, it'll be almost a year since Lamont has fought. From a timing standpoint, does that concern you, considering Lamont will be getting into the ring with a younger guy and a guy who's been more active?
No. Well, when I look at EJ, which is what we call him, one of my kids from the amateurs, and I instantly fell in love with him because he reminded me so much of Lamont. The way he fought, and like he said, both, had that dog type of mentality. I remember when we went to France, on the way to France, as a matter of fact, you remember this, and they stuck a guy in there that was a light heavyweight with EJ to spar, and I stopped it, but he said, "No, Coach B, I got him." I said, "Oh, look, this is a big guy, man." He said, "No, I got him." And he went in there convinced to opening up that can, and he did get him. And so from that point on, I knew he was a special fighter. And then, like Lamont said, when Lamont went in there, and Lamont was somewhat of a mentor to Errol. And when he went in there and worked with him, he came out of the ring, and that day he told me, he said, I like him. Stay on that path, he's going to become a world champion. And so it's bittersweet for me because this is one of my kids. You know, we talk, you know, and I love him. But I had to remind myself that this is business. It is what we do. It's love before with us, it's going to be love after. If I had my way, Keith Thurman would be sitting there, Danny Garcia would be sitting there, and some of the other big names. But they didn't want EJ, and if you notice in both interviews, when Lamont talked after the fight, he asked for these guys. When EJ talked after the fight, he asked for these guys. Nobody's picking the phone up. So it all boiled down to these two. So that's what it is. I see the fight playing out the same way they see it playing out. Derek, I watched him come up. You know, I remember times in Mississippi. You remember that grind? Times in Mississippi, and it was the same thing. So I'm looking at these guys. The 20th of January, I think this is going to be one for the books. Fan friendly.
Where do you see Errol Spence when you talk about the welterweight division? Where is Errol Spence in your opinion?
He's the man. You know, and you have people or athletes that can fight, and then you have athletes not only can fight, but they are fighters. EJ and Lamont are both. Not only do they possess the skills and the talent to do it, but they can fight, and they will fight. They are fighters. But then you got a lot of people, how can you say that you are the best in the world and you don't fight the best in the world? As I recall, I look back at Marvin Hagler, he never discriminated, he fought everybody. Hearns, everybody. Ray Leonard, everybody. And in order for boxing to get back to those glory days, I think we need to, like Steven said, put the best in against the best. And let's make it happen. I have no problem with Lamont fighting anybody on the planet. I have a lot of confidence in him. And when I see Earl, just like you guys said, I think this is the future of boxing.
Derek?
Yeah.
Let's talk about this fight. You got two type of fighters, love to fight on the inside. So do you tell your fighter, hey, lure that man in, you're the younger, you're supposed to be the stronger guy, and let him have it?
No, I really kind of just, we have a little strategy, a game plan. I try to perfect everything he's going to do in the ring. For being able to fight on the outside, being able to fight on the inside. The whole deal is to make him a more complete fighter so that the fight you saw in England won't be the same guy again. So, no, I won't tell him. I'll just prepare him to be a better inside fighter, a better fighter on the outside, better fighter on the ropes. And, you know, I always look for the perfect fight. So that's what I'm looking for. And with that being said, it takes a great fighter to being our greatness in another fighter. That's right. So you see two guys going at it, and you're going to see an amazing fight just because of the mentality and the caliber of fighters these two guys are. So you'll see a great fight. I mean, I couldn't, if you think about it, this is a better fight. I'm just sitting there thinking about listening to Barry and listening to Lamont. You know, you saw Keith Thurman run around the ring. You know, you saw a rougher fight with Sean Porter, but you don't see two guys here who have that mentality to go get it, and very technical and very skilled and very, very technically sound fighters. So you look for a great fight like Ray Leonard versus a Hearns fight because of the skill and the depth in which these guys have talent. So it's going to be a phenomenal fight.
Absolutely.
Since we're in New York, I think there was a rapper who said if they didn't know me then, they know me now.
Right, no doubt.
People certainly know you now.
Right, no doubt.
What's been your secret? I mean, because when you look at what Charlo has done, he has really gone to a different level since he's been with you, and obviously Errol has lived up to all the expectations. A number of people wonder, what is your secret? What does Derek James do for fighters?
It's not so much about a secret as about me being a former fighter, and it's one thing to do it, It's another thing to teach it. So I had to go in on the inside and kind of really understand it. So stand on the outside of everything. And so I realized that I don't follow any other old critiques about everybody would say about boxing, because boxing evolves, and that's what my whole deal is, to evolve with the sport. And so that's how I look at it, is that I don't follow anything. I have people say that fighters are born punchers are born not developed, and that's not true, because we see it in Jamel Charlo. So it's all about being more technical and more fundamentally sound. That's the key to it all. If people, if you see more fundamentals in boxing, the talent level and skill set also grow with it. So that's what I focus on.
Lamont, when people talk about the welterweight division, they mention Keith Thurman, Errol, Spence, names we've heard here today, Danny Garcia, Sean Porter. They even said Terrence Crawford. He hadn't fought yet in the welterweight division. But it's always seems like your name is last. Do you feel as if you're like the forgotten guy in this welterweight division? And if so, what are you out to prove January 20th?
I don't pay any attention to it. I respect anyone's opinion. You have to. It's their opinion. They have a right to have an opinion. So I can't feel some type of way because someone have an opinion. I just go out, train and do what I love to do. I get in the ring because I love to box, not trying to impress anyone or someone list. I love to compete. I love to box. It's that simple to me.
Errol, 2017 will probably go down as one of the best years for boxing. We saw some great matchups. We saw you in high-priced fights. 2018 is kicking off with a great fight between you two. What do you see for the welterweight division in 2018 and for Errol Spence in 2018?
I see for the welterweight division, the best fighting the best. I know I'm willing to fight the best. I know Lamont willing to fight the best. It's for the other guys to step up and, make their choice. Do they want to be great or they just want to get by? That's the only way that, the welterweight division can get to the peak. If we fight, the best fighters fight each other and they fight them in their prime. Everybody's in their prime right now. I don't feel like waiting until I'm 30-something to, want to fight the best guy out there. I want to fight the best right now. So I feel like 2018, hopefully I get 3 fights in and it's with 3 top 5 fighters.
All right, we'll wrap it up with this. Lamont, what should we expect January 20th?
I think we pretty much know what to expect. It's going to be a fight, highly competitive, highly skilled, and at the end of the day, it's going to be a dogfight.
Errol?
You know how me and Lamont, you seen Lamont fight, you know how Lamont fight, you see me fight, you know how I fight. We never been in boring fights. Always in fan-friendly fights. We have a lot of dog in us, and that's what you're going to get. We're not going to shy away from it. And like I said, it's probably going to start out a boxing match, but at the end, it's going to be a fight. That's both our mentalities, and that's our coach's mentality too. So, we got the mentality to go and get it. We're friends, but, we can talk in the locker room, and right before the fight, we talk in the locker room, and then when we get out there, we're trying to kill each other. That's our mentality.
Take a few questions from members of the press. Yeah, gentleman right there. Just tell us your name, who you're with, and direct your question.
Oh, hi. John Cudney, Reddit Boxing. So this is a question for Errol. So Lamont was already pretty established pro, I think, when you started fighting, because you started out pretty late. Just wondering when you first became aware of him, if he was someone you followed on TV before you eventually sparred each other.
Yeah, he was somebody I followed on TV before I sparred him. I used to watch him and Anthony Peterson. Watch their fights. I just like their style. I like their defense. I liked how they throw body punches. I like their fundamentals. So I did grow up watching him in the amateurs before I met him.
Okay, so just a follow-up question. I was able to talk to Lamont and Barry beforehand, and they mentioned, training a bit as amateurs and almost described it as a mentor-type relationship, that, they had a lot of respect for you, advised you. Just wondering what it means now to have risen to this level and fight someone who you had seen before and was to some extent, advised you early on.
I don't really put too much thought in it. It just, that's the business of the sport. Just like any other fighter. I was a younger guy, he was giving me advice and, telling me certain things I need to work on. And, now we're here to this point. It basically shows, his longevity in the sport, that he's, still around 13 years in the game. And it shows, my come up from an amateur to now to a, top level professional fighter.
So one last question here. So just wondering, Derek James, so during the Kelbrook promotion, you and Dominic Ingle got into it a little bit. Here we saw before this started, you and Barry embraced each other, seems to be clear respect for just wondering to hear you first and then Barry after to talk about the relationship between you two and between the two camps.
Well, they've known each other. Well, I initially met him like in 2007 when in the U.S. Championships, when I was in the U.S. Championships with a friend, Charles Hadley, watching him fight. So I've known him, and I got to know him a little bit more better, and he spent a lot of time with Errol. So, if you got a guy who's spending time with your guy, you got to get to know those guys. You go to develop a friendship and respect for the guy. So, I like him. I like what he's done. He has a gym of fighters, man. He creates these young, tough guys. He's right in the heart of it and the grind of it, which everybody can't do that, to be in the city like that and develop fighters like that. So, I respect him, and I love what he does, and I'm going to keep doing that. Regardless of this fight, if you think about this, this is the maturation of a fighter. Like this fighter, they saw him when he was amateur, they worked with him when he was amateur, but now he's growing to a man, a better fighter, a bigger fighter. And so we love that. So when you ask them how they feel about us, it's beautiful, because that's what you want to see in life. Somebody get better, somebody get to be the best that they could possibly be. And Barry's been there to support, and the mind is always there on his shoulder. So it's all good, man. I love it.
Errol, Keith Heideck from BoxingScene.com. How you doing? What do you remember from your sparring session with Lamont back in 2011, I think it was? What did you get from that, and how do you remember it going?
It was just great work, man. It was a learning experience. Just because I was an amateur, it's the amateur level. I'm going at a fast pace, just flaring punches off, kind of fighting like American. And Lamont, he just being patient, blocking, trying to counter, and picking shots out, basically fighting at a pro level, pro pace. And I didn't really understand it until I turned pro and started going 10, 12 rounds. And now I understand what he was doing and things like that.
You guys never sparred together after that, though?
No.
Next question. Lamont Peterson, this is the senior lowest black star.
What the hell happened? What they do?
Even though you were somewhat of a mentor towards him, and you may feel mentally that you have an advantage over him.
I'm not really too much worried about southpaw stats. Been fighting for 23 years now. Then, encountered a few southpaws, especially on an international level when you're fighting for the U.S. team. 50% of those guys are southpaws, so I'm pretty sure I'll be able to handle the stance.
My name is Cheyenne with Blue Blood Sports TV. So you haven't had too many fights at the welterweight division. Mm-hmm. Do you think the size is going to play a big part in this fight?
Of course, with anything, it can, but it's up to me and it's up to my team to make sure that don't happen. It's still, just because one thing might seem like an advantage for one person, it's up to the other side to make sure that advantage is not an advantage. So if it is a size advantage, then it's up to us to negate it.
All right, thank you very much. We're going to face off our fighters. Fighters, if we could, stand over here to your left, my far right here, and get ready to face off.
The hardest thing to do is sit there trying to be still. It's reasonable.
So the next one is barriers for that.
Andrew, we're gonna get the belt for you. Coming up.
My mentor, baby. What's up, Pete? How you doing, man? Could you see the shirts? Yeah. Oh, y'all be wearing us all the time. All the time. My joke, hey. So proud. Outstanding. No, that's from the heart.
Well, where they facing off at? So we got a lot of shit to talk about. I'm making some tea. We're gonna talk about Keith Thurman. Oh man, let me put that video on now. You know, it's a shame, but you have to ask yourself, is Keith Thurman smart? Or does he really not want any parts of Errol Spence? You know? Because he's talking like, I need more time. They should have let the press ask questions. The press did ask questions. It's just that they wasn't very good questions, you know? They wasn't very good questions. So we're going to talk about it. I put the ticket information down in the description box. Of course, I'm going to be there. I was supposed to be there at this one, but I'm going to the Cotto press conference tomorrow. It's his last press conference, so you know you got to pay homage, right? So we're going to be streaming that tomorrow on the channel. So hold on, I want to play a little bit of this right here, because Mr. Keith Thurman is looking. See, here's the thing. Keith Thurman seems to like know or feel that he's going to lose one day. You know? Like the Danny Garcia fight, he was talking about like, well, if I lose, if I get knocked down, he wasn't like going into the fight. Like he don't talk like confidently at press conferences, I've noticed. He just be like, well, if I lose, I lose. I lose my O. But I'm going to go in there and fight. And he going to get on some old philosophical shit. You know, where is it at? But the thing is, I got a chance to talk to both of these fighters because they had a press conference together, as both of you may know, at, what was it, Broner Garcia, right? Was it Broner Garcia? Broner versus Mikey Garcia? Oh, and we got to talk about the rumors of Broner versus Danny Garcia, but we got to talk about that later on in the video. So first, let's get my teas ready. So let me put this little clip on and get my tea, you know, put my little lemon in there and my cough drops, you know, get my little tonic going, and then we can just chill and talk some boxing. So please subscribe. TstreeT Controversy. This is TstreeT Controversy Live. I cover every single major fight. We got a podcast coming. Hold on, I'm trying to multitask. This video I'm about to show you is that Keith Thurman's a funny ass dude. You know, that's a funny young man. Is it this one? Let me see. Is it this one? Yeah, it's this one. Fuck it. Let's put this one on. Which one was it? All right, here we are. So go chill, go get some medicinals, go get y'all something to drink and everything. I got the scoop. You know, I got the scoop for y'all. Oh, by the way, how is my sound on my end? Am I sounding cool? There we go. We're going to do that. Do it like this.
For 3 months. I spent 1 week in New Delhi and 1 week in
Okay,
Thailand.
so remember he had this layoff, right? He had elbow surgery. He's not going to be returning until at least late February or early March, meaning Keith one-time Thurman. What else? He's gotten married. So the video starts off with him talking about what he's been doing. Now, a lot of people have been saying that he looks high. So we're going to talk about what the plan is for Keith Thurman and for Errol Spence. Now, Errol Spence, I've talked to him personally. He wants to fight 3 times 2018, which is one of the reasons why they wanted to have him fighting in January, so that he could possibly fight in January, in April or May, or even June or August, and still fit in the fight, by December or so. So 3 times in 2018. So we're going to talk about who he wants to fight, or who will fight him. We're also going to talk about Keith Thurman's plan of his 3-fight, 2018 that he wants to have, and how in his mind, or the way he's talking, it doesn't involve Errol Spence. So it's a lot of shit going on, but we're going to talk about the welterweight division as a whole, and then we're going to talk about how Terrence Crawford, the way all of these fighters have been talking, like, they talk as if he's like the king of the 147-pound division. He hasn't had one fight there yet. And I'm talking, and you're listening to this from a guy who is doing the interviews with the fighters and watching all the interviews and reading everything. The way that these welterweights, the Keith Thurmans, even Errol Spence to an extent, but he's very soft-spoken, don't say too much. The Danny Garcias and, even the Jeff Horns and all that, and the whole thing going on with Pacquiao, they're talking like Terrence Crawford is the king already. But anyway, watch this. Let me go get my tea before that shit gets cold. I'll be right back in like 3-4 minutes.
I spent 1 week in New Delhi and 1 week in Thailand. I'm still a little jet lagged. I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to stay up for this whole fight tonight. I might have to crash out here backstage for a little bit just so I'm well rested, man. Trust me, man. Jet lag is worse than 12 rounds of boxing. I don't care what nobody says, man. It does something to your head, man. I mean, it makes you feel all foggy. It's not a pleasant feeling, man. But it is great to be back. Actually, my first night back, I got in at 11:30 at night. Before I finished grabbing my bags and putting them into the hotel room, I was outside of the hotel, and a young woman said to me, she goes, "Aren't you that boxer?" So I know New York got love for your boy one time. It's really great to be back in this city where they love boxing and they love what I do, and I get respect around town, man. It's a beautiful thing, man. I love the Barclays. I love New York. It got cold yesterday. It's not that cold today. A little bipolar, a little emotional right now. But it's good, man. I haven't even been back home yet. I haven't seen my family yet. So after I'm done with New York, I'll get back to see my family, and that's going to be a pleasant thing as well.
So you got married, and then you've been over there. You just getting back?
Yeah, man. Because I got to do 2 things. Kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I got to make an appearance here for the fans. And for you guys, and just to be around boxing again. Plus, I got to see my doctor when I got into town. I got into town on Monday night. I saw my doctor Wednesday morning, and I'm going to do my last checkup with him Monday before I leave on Tuesday. So we're killing 2 birds with 1 stone. I've been doing some therapy every day except for today. I'll be working with my therapist tomorrow and Monday from HSS Hospital, and we just multitasking, man. But yeah, man, I'm here seeing y'all before I go see my mama, man. So
hey, man,
I hope y'all appreciate that.
I saw you at the podcast yesterday, Brooklyn to the World with Paulie. I was at the table with y'all, man. I've always wanted to ask, have you guys ever
12 rounds? They're not about to be in a 12-round fight. As I said it in a different interview, he brought Paulie in for Cam, right? And he made Paulie do 12 rounds.
Nah, I'm trying to get to the good part.
Floyd, but there's none. He don't need to do nothing. He didn't.
All right, here we go.
The media to talk to Floyd. What about that boy Keith Thurman? You're gonna fight that boy Keith Thurman. Once when he was elevated, even if you would have said I'm this, I'm that, he would say, but there's none. He don't need to do that. He didn't need to acknowledge me. That was a power play, a power move. We know that Floyd was in a power position for many years throughout his career, and he played it well. Some people get into places of power and they don't use it. They fight everybody and they fall off the ladder pretty quick. So what's the right thing to do? What's the wrong thing to do? You know, and I also said before that there's two ways to become a legend. One way is by beating a legend. The other way is by creating your own legacy. And apparently that's what I have to do at this stage. And luckily we have great champions. We have a lot of great fighters in the welterweight division.
This clip I'm about to show you is very important.
We, you know, those are really the two names that I've been wanting to get at for a long time. Keith Thurman and Danny Garcia, big names, both on both sides, big fights all the way around. It's great for our careers, and definitely another fight that I would love to have. You know, like my dad said, we're gonna wait for Keith Thurman to say what's going on, and but moving past Keith Thurman, I think the only other guy out there I would want to fight is Danny Garcia. Sorry to cut you off too. But.
Okay, now this was at Sean Porter's last fight. You know, when he beat Adrian Granados. He's about to talk about how he wants Keith Thurman or Danny Garcia. So my homie was there. I don't even know how he got backstage. He messaged me while I'm recording, and he likes to ask about Errol Spence because I wasn't going to ask any questions. I was like, man, I don't really have no questions because how can I put it? As I said, like, I watch all the interviews. I know, like, a lot of these fighters, like, mannerisms when it comes to how they answer questions and things like that and what they're likely going to say. So you can't put no bullshit past me. So a few months before this, I interviewed Kenny Porter, and he was talking about how close him and Errol Spence's team was. He even traveled. Kenny Porter traveled with Errol Spence and his team and worked with Errol Spence when Errol Spence beat Kell Brooks. So I said, all right, I'm going to ask this question and see what their answer is, right? So pay attention. Now, it's only, it's 4 minutes and 27 seconds long. Now, he's been talking about how he wants Keith Thurman and he wants Danny Garcia, and he is the mandatory for Keith Thurman. Yes, and he's beat the man that, you know, that's also was supposed to be the next mandatory. Whatever the case may be, listen to this. Listen to this.
Like my dad said, we're gonna wait for Keith Thurman to say what's going on, and but moving past Keith Thurman, I think the only other guy out there I would want to fight is Danny Garcia. Sorry to cut you off too, but yeah, I knew where you was going. So.
Right here. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
Can you detail or explain your relationship with Errol Spence? Because it seems as though in media and your interviews, you've been reluctant to talk about you fighting him. Are you and him close?
I'm not reluctant to talk about fighting Errol Spence. I just feel like right now, with him being an IBF champion, and you know me being 3 years past that now, that you know to me he is not irrelevant, but he's just like on the other side right now. I'm going for the WBC title. His green title is something that I'm really passionate about, and that's why I continue to move forward past that. I'll tell you how close we are. I just got his number back in August. I hadn't had his number before August, and that was because he wanted to connect and play basketball when he came to Las Vegas. So I made that happen for him. But outside of that, I don't text him. He doesn't call me or anything like that. But you know, when we see each other, as always, with every fighter, we respectful and cordial with one another. But it's not a relationship where we talk all the time or anything like that. My dad and I, we went over to England to support him, hoping he would bring that belt back here to the States, and he did that. I'm happy for him. But, you know, when it comes to me fighting Errol Spence.
Yo, look how Kenny Porter look how Kenny Porter looking at me, yo. Now, mind you, we friends on Facebook. He told me, and he be watching my shit. We had met, you know. I'm going to show y'all. We got to play this first, and then we're going to play the crazy shit. But anyway, shut up. Listen.
I think that's just a matter of time, as opposed to, you know, me shying away from it. I think that's just a matter of time, as opposed to, you know, me shying away from it.
Thank you.
Sean, Chris Conner from Glasgow. Congratulations on a great fight.
Thank you.
Worst case scenario, Garcia says no. If Thurman doesn't want to fight until maybe after the Spence fight, what's the plan B? I mean, what do you guys have in mind if they say, well, we'll fight you, but in 9 months, 10 months? Is there anybody else you have in mind besides those two? Would you go up to 154 for a big fight?
We fought in April, and we told them we wanted to fight again before the end of the year. And neither of those guys were ready or willing. And we found Adrian Granado. So, I mean, I guess maybe worst case scenario, we'll do our best to find another good fighter out there to go up against. But, you know, it's always my dad handles that side.
He's still mean mugging me.
No reason to fight anybody else, contrary to which, I mean, 1 + 1 = 2. We just fought 2 title eliminators. We fight 2 title eliminators. As far as the idea of the champion is concerned, Errol Spence, why would we be fighting all these title eliminators if we was trying to get to him? We're not even rated by the IBF. Okay, so there's absolutely no reason for us to go that way. Eventually, I fully expect Sean to fight Errol Spence, Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman, and the kid that's moving up, Terrence Woodcroft. I fully expect that. But reality speaking, we just put everything on the line again for the WBC. So there's absolutely no reason to go anywhere else or to fight anyone else but him. Plus we got a little hand injury. We got to let that heal. So while we're letting that heal, we continue to work, you know, but while we're letting that heal, and they're doing whatever they're doing, that smoke clears, we fought for the right to be there twice now. Okay, we fought for the right to be there twice. We didn't fight anybody in the IBF. We're not rated by the IBF. We don't have any intentions of going that direction. You know, we can fight, but you know, we put the work in and we've earned the right. He has earned the right to fight Ethan.
Okay. So y'all heard that, right? They didn't seem too comfortable with that question. And I wasn't trying to be a dickhead. I wasn't trying to, ruffle any feathers. But then there was this one. This one's only 1 minute, 39 seconds. Probably like the 15 seconds of it is intro. So then there's this one, right? Now, this is me and Kenny Porter just 3 months, 4, 5 months before. Shh. Listen. And shut your mouths. I'm still with them, by the way, that app.
For now, what advice would you give Errol Spence to beat Kell Brook? Especially with the fact that he's fighting overseas, in the UK.
I really can't divulge that with you because I'll be going over there and I will be giving him a lot of advice the whole entire time.
So you're working with Errol Spence?
No, I'm not working with him, but I and Errol, we have a relationship that goes back when I was his coach on USA national teams and international teams. I was in the World Championships with him in Azerbaijan. I was his head coach and took him to Russia and also to the Ukraine. So I'm looking forward to being able to give him some thoughts on what's going on and help him deal with some of the things in any type of way, never stepping on Derek James in any type of way, but just to be there supportive. And I talked to Derek about that yesterday, and me and Errol have talked about that on numerous occasions. So, I think that he's going to have to be Errol Spence to win this fight. And I don't expect anything less. I never saw anything less from him throughout his amateur career, all the way through the Olympics, and even now as a professional. So, yeah, I would just be there to support him and offer anything that I can at that time.
Okay, thank you. Sir, looks like they're waiting over you for you to set. I'll see you tomorrow in the fight.
Pleasure meeting you.
Thank you. I'll see you soon.
I don't know. Where's my, is it this one? Bam, put that up there. So where do we start? Now, it is true that Errol Spence has a lot of respect in the division because everybody's like, nah, we're not trying to go that route. or are we not ready for that route yet? They giving him the respect like he, you know. So there's a lot of pressure on Errol Spence's shoulders because it's a lot of pressure, you know, because if he doesn't go out there beating motherfuckers up and looking good doing it, what are they going to say? Oh, he's been exposed, right? That's boxing fans' favorite shit to say when a fight don't go a fighter's way. Look at fucking Joshua versus Takam. Oh, Joshua's been exposed, you know? But we're not going to talk about Wilder versus Joshua and all that shit. Maybe at the end of the video. We're focusing on the 147-pound division where Keith Thurman is the #1 ratings getter. Danny Garcia is the money in the division. Errol Spence is the boogeyman. You got a question mark around Terrence Crawford. You got Lamont Peterson trying to upset all that. And you got Jeff Horn over in Australia talking big money shit. That has very powerful backers behind him. So even though people may look at Jeff Horn as being the weakest champion of the champions, you know, remember there's only 3 of them, you know, because Keith Thurman has 2 belts. And depending on how you look at the interim situation, technically Sean Porter is a champion too. You know, being a WBC interim champion now. So, you know, the division pretty lit. So it's looking like if Jeff Horn beats Gary Corcoran, I forgot to pronounce his last name, that's going to be on ESPN, but we're going to talk about it in a couple of weeks. What's that, December the 16th? It's going to be like real early in the morning on ESPN. You know, if he beats him, then we're going to see him versus Terrence Crawford in April. So right now it's looking like Terrence Crawford is on this extended vacation since becoming undisputed champion, you know? So he's waiting for that WBO title, and once he comes along, you know, put it this way, the 147-pound division is going to expose a lot of fighters. You know, and it's like, who's going to come out the top of the heap? Now, right now, you have guys like Danny Garcia who's choosing his next fight wisely. You know, remember, he, you know, has been off since he's lost to Keith Thurman, you know. If Keith Thurman didn't get injured, Angel Garcia said himself that there was a rematch that's supposed to take place. From my understanding, Keith Thurman, after his comeback fight, now he's already stated, I have that, I don't feel like playing it on the channel because then I have to find the video. You know, and I want to take a break from showing content. Let's talk for a little bit. Maybe I'll show it later on in the video. But he said in the interview, you know, that I did with him that his first fight back is going to be at the end of February, you know, early March. And he wants to fight 3 times a year. But his first fight back is going to be somebody who's ranked by the WBC or the WBA. But he said it's not going to be a big name. It's going to be a comeback fight for him to get the rust off. You know, many people have been throwing Jesse Vargas' name out there because Jesse Vargas, who beat Saddam Ali. Saddam Ali is fighting Miguel Cotto this weekend. Jesse Vargas is fighting Aaron Herrera December the 15th, PBC on Fox Sports 1. You know, so he has enough time, if he wins, to be able to get the Keith Thurman fight. But Keith Thurman said it's not going to be a big name like that. But is Jesse Vargas really a big name like that? You know? Depends on how you're looking at it. So Keith Thurman, after that, will pick either Sean Porter or Danny Garcia to fight. Then, if he really, really says he's going to do it, you know, fight 3 times in 2018, then who is he going to fight at the end of 2018 if he beats Sean Porter in a rematch, or if he beats Danny Garcia in a rematch? Who? Because remember, he still got to be champion and stay champion to fight Errol Spence. So a lot of people calling for that fight right now. Keith Thurman is in a situation that he was in when guys like Paulie Malignaggi wasn't fighting, when Paulie Malignaggi was a bigger name than him, when guys like Robert Guerrero, after fighting Floyd Mayweather, wasn't fighting because Robert Guerrero was a bigger name, you know, than him. Now he's doing the exact same thing to Errol Spence that we've seen fighters do throughout the history. Like, oh, who is this guy? He's not known yet. Yeah, he's a champion, but he's got to start getting some revenue and shit. You know, so that's why I like the way Showtime handled the press conference, because if it just was, you know, okay, we're going to call up Errol Spence to the mic, he going to get up there and say some old calm, you know, shit in his Texas accent, you know, and then boom, press conference over, you know. So I like that they're going that format because it gets the fighters and the trainers to engage and talk, you know, like be themselves. answering questions. So therefore, we don't have no boring press conference. They need to do that more, especially since you have so many Heyman fighters that don't have mic skills, Like, for example, when it comes to Danny Garcia, his mouthpiece is Angel Garcia. Angel Garcia, his job is to sell the fights. That's the way the fans look at it, When it comes to the Charlos got so much better on the microphone because they be talking shit. Especially if you talk some shit to them. They're going, shit be crazy. I was there when that crazy shit went down, after Wilder beat up Thurman. That shit was crazy. It was some crazy shit, Terrence is the most anticipated fighter coming to 140. Yeah, the way they looking at, Terrence Crawford, the way I've heard Keith Thurman speak of Terrence Crawford, the way I've heard Angel Garcia and Danny Garcia speak of Terrence Crawford. Even though they fought in the amateurs, and if I'm correct, Danny Garcia won, didn't he? I forgot. Didn't Danny Garcia win? And I want to see that footage if it's out there. Spence is a bigger name than Thurman. No, he's not. Who said that? I didn't say that. No, he's not. Spence don't have the numbers to prove it, unless you want to talk about those numbers that he did after beating up Leonard Bundu after Team USA won the gold. So put it this way. Spence got those numbers. There's no disrespect to him. I'm just calling this shit like it is. Those numbers were good, and yes, he has the PBC record for most numbers, but they aired his fight no co-feature. They aired his fight immediately after the U.S. won the gold. He was in the ring, and he knocked Leonard Bundu out, So that was good marketing. That was really good the way they did that. Andre has 7 weeks notice. Well, yeah, we're going to talk about other stuff later on in the video. So as far as the 147-pound division is concerned, oh, by the way, who's going to this fight? I think this is a big fight. The biggest issue I have is we don't know what type of fight Lamont Peterson is going to fight. Now, over the last few years, even though he's only had a few fights, we've seen him become like this pressure fighting power puncher. But yet, when he fought Danny Garcia, he was on his bike. So I'm wondering what type of fight is he going to fight against Errol Spence? Is he going to try to break Errol Spence down like he's done with recent opponents, even though there's only a few of them? Or is he going to be on his bike like he was with Danny Garcia, and have Errol Spence chase him around and shit? Yeah, it's looking like Errol Spence versus Thurman in 2019, but guess what? Both of these fighters have to keep winning, and both of these fighters in a situation where they can't take fights that were less than the fight that they had before. And Heyman and Showtime is not allowed that anymore. If you've noticed, Heyman, even though he won't classify himself as a manager, he's an advisor, he's in his own league of his own, he should be looked at as manager or promoter or advisor of the year, whatever the hell he is. Because he's put on some major fights this year. And even the fights that he tried to put on that got canceled or whatever the case may be. But the only issue that people are still holding, basically, I don't want to use the term failure. I don't see PBC as being failed, because it's still there. It's just that they had 2 horrible years when they had like all this money, which makes it look bad, But now, many have said that if Heyman would have been doing the shit he's doing now, with his fighters, when PBC first started, having them fight each other and shit, and putting on these stacked cards, PBC would have been lit. But, woulda, coulda, shoulda. We can't keep talking about the past, So now, you have Heyman and Showtime, who have built a reputation of putting on these stacked cards with fights that hardcore fans want to see. Like, oh shit, that's why we're hearing things like this rumor of Danny Garcia versus Adrian Broner. After we were hearing Danny Garcia versus Brandon Rios. But I think Danny Garcia would take an Adrian Broner fight. Why? Because he can beat Adrian Broner. Because Adrian Broner is going to be right there for him to hit. Or Willie. Because you saw Adrian Broner was moving around like a motherfucker against Monkey Garcia. Can Spence move to 160? Yeah. Yo, dude is huge. Pause. And I'm not talking about now. I'm talking about I see him at 160 in the future because he does have the height. Mainstream media wants you to look at numbers to indicate who's the better draw, but mainstream media is promoting and pushing certain fighters. So you need to promote Errol. What? You getting weighed too? But yeah, I mean, for one, I don't follow mainstream media. You know, mainstream media is dead, truth be told, or dying. YouTube media, more so independent media is what it's called, is where it's at. But I can't decipher that shit right now, bro. You want some fucking Edgar Allan Poe shit. You know? But yeah, you know, so I'm you know, rumors are circulating around about Adrian Broner and Danny Garcia, and then of course you heard about or if you haven't, Mikey Garcia versus Omar Figueroa on January the 27th. And what division is that going to be at? Is it going to be at 140 or 147? You know, remember Omar Figueroa when he beat Robert Guerrero was looking fat, like a fat 147. You know, so it's you know, like, it's going to be a good beginning of the year, man. It's going to be a good beginning of the year, man, for Showtime. You know, I think it was kind of dumb, you know, in my opinion, for HBO to put on a card the same night as Rigondeaux versus Loma when, you know, Loma versus Rigondeaux, when, like, all the hardcore boxing fans are going to be watching this shit. I mean, obviously, with my job, you know, I got to watch both cards, but I'm surely going to be tuned in. You know, ain't going to be no turn in the channel. And make sure, if you watch Lomachenko versus Rigondeaux, don't be surprised if it's a slow, technical, sweet, sciencey fight. You know, so don't be surprised. Make sure you take a nap, you know, before. So if it turned into some sweet science shit, you know, you're going to be at. But what we're going to do, since we now have 44 minutes left in this video, we're going to run back the press conference. It's only a half an hour long, but I'm going to be stopping and, you know, we're not going to watch the whole thing. We're probably going to watch like maybe 15 minutes of it. You know, maybe not even that. You know, I don't know. We're going to see. Let me get all this shit off the screen. Close that out. Close that out.
That I can compete up again.
Oh, no. And then I guess we can move on to other topics. We already talked about the 147-pound division. You know? Like, as I said, my job is to talk about, like, the politics behind shit and to let you know what fights can and cannot happen and all about the belts. Oh, by the way, Lucas Matisse is fighting... When is that? Is that January the 27th, too? He's fighting on the undercard of Linares. Hold on, let me pull it up, man. Let me pull it up for you, man. Confusing myself and shit. Lucas Matisse is fighting for the title that Lamont Peterson dropped to fight Errol Spence. The same title that the WBA said they were going to get rid of, and they keep fucking bullshitting. So watch a little bit of this, and we're going to be back.
Ready to take the fight that he actually fight of the kind of matchups on Showtime Championship Boxing. It's been consistent, the quality of programming on Showtime. The fight cards have all been incredibly easy to promote because the fights on paper have been so strong and usually in the ring have wound up being so entertaining. You need to make fights where great fighters are fighters in order to give fans what they need to see and to help energize our sport. So I'd like to bring up the man I think that's most responsible for this great run, Steven Espinoza.
Thanks, Lou. As we come to the end of 2017 and look back on what has been a really strong year, a year we're very proud of at Showtime Championship Boxing, 25 nights of live boxing this year, 80 live boxing matches, 27 world title fights, and not just world title fights, but world title fights of top-ranked challengers and top-ranked champions, names versus names. These are competitively matched fights. We've brought you the highest rated, most watched fight of the year in Thurman versus Garcia. Right here at Barclays Center on CBS is also the most watched primetime boxing match in nearly 20 years. So we're very proud of what we've achieved, but we're not going to rest on our laurels.
The future of the welterweight division, his moniker certainly fits him. He is the truth, Errol Spence Jr. To his right, the challenger, two-weight division world champion. Won world titles at 140 pounds and at 147 pounds in February of this year. In fact, as you heard Steven say, he gave up the title just so he could take this fight. He's fought some of the biggest names in boxing: Amir Khan, Tim Bradley, Lucas Matisse, Danny Garcia. This will be his third time fighting here in Brooklyn. He is 35-3-1. He's got 17 knockouts. His moniker, Havoc, Lamont Peterson. And his trainer. When you talk about elite trainers, world-class trainers, you have to mention Barry Hunter. He also trains Lamont's brother, Anthony Peterson. He owns the famous Headbangers Gym in Washington, D.C. So many champions train at Headbangers. It is known across the world. He is Mr. Barry Hunter. Guys, let's have a conversation.
It's beware.
And Lamont, let me start with you. Because in my intro, I talked about some of the biggest names in boxing that you've already faced. Now you're taking on a young lion, many consider the next great welterweight. What does this fight mean to you at this stage of your career?
Well, for me, I try not to make too much out of it. You know, it's a world title fight, and I'm thankful for that. I just try to take a fight at a time. I've been fighting, 13 years as a professional now, so to me, all fights are the same. I'm just happy to be getting the opportunity to fight for another world title, and
you know, his beard is crazy. You know, just to hate, because you know, his last fights, they don't be making him cut it. So just to hate on him, if I was on the other team or Spence team, I'd be like, yo, make sure he cut that shit. But I let him think, like all camp, that he can have his beard, and then come fight night, I'd be like, I'm not going into the ring unless he cut his beard. I'll wait until like we're about to do our ring walks, and I'd be like, yo, go check and see if he got his beard. I'm talking about, I'll make the fans wait, everybody wait till he cut his beard off. So he come in the fucking ring just baby-faced and shit. You know? That's what I do.
I'm just going in and try to take care of business.
Not too many guys are lining up, though, to fight Errol Spence.
Of course.
A number of big names who said no. But you gave up your title for this fight. Why?
Because I feel like it's, as a top fighter, top 10 fighter, you're obligated to take what comes on the table. And regardless of, you know, who it is, you know, like Earl's cool, you know, Dirk is cool. Like, we can box in a boxing ring. We don't have to be, you know, I don't have to be mad at him, or you don't have to be mad at me, or we have to feel some type of way. It's boxing. It's a sport. And we're competitors, and we're going to go in there and compete. Like, if it's left to me, we'll be friends before, and we'll be friends after. But when we're in the ring, we're going to take care of business like we always do.
Errol, you're coming off a dramatic victory to win the title. Will we see that sharp Errol Spence that we've seen here in the past? One who's certainly not content just being a champion, or will we see a guy who may be looking down the road because everyone's talking about Errol Spence and Keith Thurman?
You're going to see the same Errol Spence. I can't look down the road because I know how dangerous Lamont Peterson is. He's somebody I've been watching since the amateurs. He's somebody I used to study when I was an amateur. You know, I've been in training camps with him. I know what Lamont can do. I've seen him fight. So, I mean, I've seen too many fighters look down the road, and then the guy right in front of them end up beating them, and then they can't get those big fights because they lost. So I'm going to focus on what's in front of me, and that's Lamont Peterson. That's a big task at hand, so I have to be 100% focused and hungry and dedicated for this training camp and for this fight. You will see a hungry Errol Spence Jr.
I just think stylistically, this fight is really interesting, only for the simple fact you got two of the best body punchers in boxing going at it in this fight. In your mind, Errol, how do you see January 20th playing out in the ring?
You know, I think it'll probably start as a boxing match, but I think at the end it's gonna end up as a dog fight, man. I mean, that's what, we both got big hearts, man. Like, I never known Lamont to duck any competition. I never known or seen anything on social media saying, oh, Lamont turned down this fight, Lamont did this and did that. Like you said, it's not a lot of fighters that wanted to fight me. You know, those big names in the welterweight division, they all, got that call to see, did they want that fight? And a lot of them shied away from it. Most of them did. And Lamont stood up and said, yeah, I'll fight him. He vacated his belt for it. And, he has a big heart and he's a dog. So, and I have a big heart and I'm a dog too. So we're probably going to start out boxing, but at the end, it's going to be a fight.
Lamont, same question to you. Two of the best body punchers in boxing. How's this fight going to play out in your mind?
Same way he said, same thing he said. I mean, like, you already know when most times I fight, it's going to be a filling out process, but the whole time I can tell you this, it's in my head, we're going to fight. And bottom line, that's probably what's going to happen.
I thought it was interesting, you heard Errol say you guys have trained together. He talked about when he was an amateur, he worked out with you, he said you gave him some tips and throwing different punches, things of that nature. When you look at Errol now, you see any of the flaws that you saw when he was a young buck? Are those flaws things that you can exploit come January 20th?
Nah, I kind of knew at the time that, it was 6 years ago that he would be at this point. He'll be a world champion. Saw a lot of talent in him. You correct certain little things. That's just little things. But for the most part, I've seen improvement. I've seen progression throughout the pro ranks, and I think he'll continue to get better.
What gives you your biggest confidence in this fight?
Just me. I just know who I am. I know I'm a competitive person, and regardless of what, you come to win. So that's what gives me faith, hope.
Billy, when these guys step into the ring, it'll be almost a year since Lamont has fought. From a timing standpoint, does that concern you, considering Lamont will be getting into the ring with a younger guy and a guy who's been more active?
No. Well, when I look at EJ, which is what we call him, one of my kids from the amateurs, and I instantly fell in love with him because he reminded me so much of Lamont. The way he fought, and like you said, both, had that dog type of mentality. I remember when we went to France, on the way to France, as a matter of fact, you remember this, and they stuck a guy in there that was a light heavyweight with EJ to spar, and I stopped it, but he said, no, Coach B, I got him. I said, oh, look, this is a big guy, man. He said, no, I got him. And he went in there convinced to opening up that can, and he did get him. And so from that point on, I knew he was a special fighter. And then, like Lamont said, when Lamont went in there, and Lamont was somewhat of a mentor to Errol. And when he went in there and worked with him, he came out of the ring, and that day he told me, he said, I like him. Stay on that path, he's going to become a world champion. And so it's bittersweet for me because this is one of my kids. We talk, and I love him. But I had to remind myself that this is business. This is what we do. It's love before with us, it's going to be love after. If I had my way, Keith Thurman would be sitting there, Danny Garcia would be sitting there, and some of the other big names. But they didn't want EJ, and if you notice, in both interviews, when Lamont talked after the fight, he asked for these guys. When EJ talked after the fight, he asked for these guys. Nobody's picking the phone up. So it all boiled down to these two. So that's what it is. I see the fight playing out the same way they see it playing out. Derek, I watched him come up. I remember times in Mississippi. You remember that grind? Times in Mississippi, and it was the same thing. So I'm looking at these guys. the 20th of January, I think this is going to be one for the books, fan-friendly.
Where do you see Errol Spence when you talk about...
This is our second viewing of this. We're just getting it out the way. It's only another 10 minutes left. You know, we're just watching it for the people who came in late. We already talked about the division, and yeah, you know, they talked about it. And I think we already seen it in the media that, you know, yeah, Keith Thurman got the call, Danny Garcia got the call, Sean Porter got the call. You know, did Terrence Crawford get the call? Oh no. Oh no.
The welterweight division. Where is Errol Spence in your opinion?
He's the man, you know, and you have people or athletes that can fight, and then you have athletes not only can fight, but they are fighters. EJ and Lamont are both. Not only do they possess the skills and the talent to do it, but they can fight, and they will fight. They are fighters. But then you got a lot of people, how can you say that you are the best in the world and you don't fight the best in the world? As I recall, I look back at Marvin Hagler, he never discriminated, he fought everybody. Hearns, everybody. Ray Leonard, everybody. And in order for boxing to get back to those glory days, I think we need to, like Steven said, put the best in against the best. And let's make it happen. I have no problem with Lamont fighting anybody on the planet. I have a lot of confidence in him. And when I see Earl, just like you guys said, I think this is the future of boxing.
Derek?
Yeah.
Let's talk about this fight. You got two type of fighters, love to fight on the inside. So do you tell your fighter, hey, lure that man in, you're the younger, you're supposed to be the stronger guy, and let him have it?
No, I really kind of just, we have a little strategy, a game plan. I try to perfect everything he's going to do in the ring. For being able to fight on the outside, being able to fight on the inside. The whole deal is to make him a more complete fighter so that the fight you saw in England won't be the same guy again. So, no, I won't tell him. I'll just prepare him to be a better inside fighter, a better fighter on the outside, better fighter on the ropes. And, you know, I always look for the perfect fight. So that's what I'm looking for. And with that being said, it takes a great fighter to bring out greatness in another fighter.
Right.
So you see two guys going at it, and you're going to see an amazing fight just because of the mentality and the caliber of fighters these two guys are. So you'll see a great fight. I mean, I couldn't even think about it. This is a better fight. I'm just sitting there thinking about listening to Barry and listening to Lamont. You know, you will saw Keith Thurman run around the ring. You know, you saw a rougher fight with Sean Porter, but you see two guys here who have that mentality to go get it, and very technical and very skilled and very technically sound fighters. So you look for a great fight like Ray Leonard versus Hearns fight because of the skill and the depth in which these guys have talent. So it's going to be a phenomenal fight.
Absolutely.
Since we're in New York, I think there was a rapper who said if they didn't know me then, they know me now.
Right, yeah, no doubt.
People certainly know you now.
Right, no doubt. Yeah.
What's been your secret? I mean, because when you look at what Charlo has done, he has really gone to a different level since he's been with you. And obviously, Errol has lived up to all the expectations. A number of people want, what is your secret? What does Derek James do for fighters?
It's not so much about a secret as about me being a former fighter, and it's one thing to do it. It's another thing to teach it. So I had to go in on the inside and kind of really understand it. So stand on the outside of everything, and so I realized that I don't follow any other old critiques about everybody would say about boxing, because boxing evolves, and that's my whole.
Yeah, he has had a good year. You know, but if you notice, like when they give trainers that trainer of the year, they usually have like a bad year. If Ring Magazine curse you with trainer of the year, that next year they be fucked up. Look at Joe Gallagher, you know. But anyway, it's only like 7-8 minutes left of this. You know, I'm gonna watch it.
Did is to evolve with the sport, and so that's how I look at it. Is that I don't follow anything. I have people say that fighters are born punches are born not developed, and that's not true, because we see it in Jamel Charlo. So it's all about being more technical, and more fundamentally sound, that's the key to it all. If people, if you see more fundamentals in boxing, the talent level and skill set also grow with it. So that's what I focus on.
Lamont, you know, when people talk about the welterweight division, they mention Keith Thurman, Errol, Spence, names we've heard here today, Danny Garcia, Sean Porter. They even said Terrence Crawford. He hadn't fought yet in the welterweight division. But it's always seems like your name is last. Do you feel as if you're like the forgotten guy in this welterweight division? And if so, what are you out to prove January 20th?
I don't pay any attention to it. I respect anyone's opinion. You have to. It's their opinion. They have a right to have an opinion. So I can't feel some type of way because someone have an opinion. I just go out, train to do what I love to do. I get in the ring because I love to box, not trying to impress anyone or be on someone's list. I love to compete. I love to box. It's that simple to me.
Errol, 2017 will probably go down as one of the best years for boxing. We saw some great matchups. We saw you in high-priced fights. 2018 is kicking off with a great fight between you two. What do you see for the welterweight division in 2018 and for Errol Spence in 2018?
I mean, I see for the welterweight division, the best fighting the best. I mean, I know I'm willing to fight the best. I know Lamont willing to fight the best. It's for the other guys to step up and, you know, make their choice. Do they want to be great or they just want to get by? I mean, that's the only way that, you know, the welterweight division can get to the peak. If we fight, the best fighters fight each other and they fight them in their prime. Everybody's in their prime right now. I don't feel like waiting until I'm 30-something to, you know, want to fight the best guy out there. I want to fight the best right now. So I feel like 2018, you know, hopefully I get 3 fights in and it's with 3 top 5 fighters.
All right, we'll wrap it up with this. Lamont, what should we expect January 20th?
I think we pretty much know what to expect. It's going to be a fight, highly competitive, highly skilled, and at the end of the day, it's going to be a dogfight.
Errol?
I mean, you know how me and Lamont, you seen Lamont fight, you know how Lamont fight, you see me fight, you know how I fight. We never been in boring fights. I mean, always in fan-friendly fights. We have a lot of dog in us, and that's what you're going to get. I mean, we're not going to shy away from it. And like I said, they're probably going to start out a boxing match, but at the end, it's going to be a fight. That's both our mentalities, and that's our coach's mentality too. So, I mean, we got the mentality to go and get it. I mean, we're friends, but I mean, we can talk in the locker room, and right before the fight, we talk in the locker room. Then when we get out there, we're trying to kill each other. I mean, that's our mentality.
Take a few questions from members of the press. Yeah, gentleman right there. Just tell us your name, who you're with, and direct your question.
Oh, hi. John Cudney, Reddit Boxing. So this is a question for Errol. So Lamont was already pretty established pro, I think, when you started fighting, because you started out pretty late. Just wondering when you first became aware of him, if he was someone you followed on TV before you eventually sparred each other.
Yeah, he was somebody I followed on TV before I sparred him. You know, I used to watch him and Anthony Peterson. Watch their fights. I just like their style. You know, I like their defense. I liked how they throw body punches. I like the fundamentals. So yeah, I did, you know, grow up watching him in the amateurs before I met him.
Okay, so just a follow-up question. I was able to talk to Lamont and Barry beforehand, and they mentioned, you know, training a bit as amateurs and almost described it as a mentor-type relationship, that, you know, they had a lot of respect for you, advised you. Just wondering what it means now to have risen to this level and fight someone who you had seen before and was to some extent, you know, advised you early on.
I mean, I don't really put too much thought in it. I mean, it just, you know, that's the business of the sport. I mean, just like any other fighter. I mean, you know, I was a younger guy, you know, he was giving me advice and, you know, telling me certain things I need to work on. And, you know, now we're here to this point. I mean, it basically shows, you know, his longevity in the sport, that he's, you know, still around 13 years in the game. and it shows, my come up from amateur to now to a, top level professional fighter.
So one last question here. So just wondering, Derek James, so during the Kell Brook promotion, you and Dominic Ingle got into it a little bit.
Oh, let me pause that right there for a minute. There's only like 2 questions left. This is the very end. It's like 3 minutes left or something. It's the very end. Then we're going to talk again.
Here we saw before this started, you and Barry embraced each other, seems to be clear respect for I'm just wondering to hear you first and then Barry after to talk about the relationship between you two and between the two camps.
Well, they've known each other. Well, I initially met him like in 2007 when in the U.S. Championships, when I was in the U.S. Championships with a friend, Charles Hadley, watching him fight. So I've known him, and I got to know him a little bit more better, and he spent a lot of time with Errol. So, if you got a guy who's spending time with your guy, you got to get to know those guys. You go to develop a friendship and respect for the guy. So, I like him. I like what he's done. He has a gym of fighters, man. He creates these young, tough guys. I mean, he's right in the heart of it and the grind of it, which everybody can't do that, to be in the inner city like that and develop fighters like that. So, I respect him, and I love what he does, and I'm going to keep doing that. Regardless of this fight, if you think about this, this is the maturation of a fighter. Like this fighter, they saw him when he was an amateur, they worked with him when he was an amateur, but now he's growing to a man, a better fighter, a bigger fighter. And so we love that. I mean, so when you ask them how they feel about us, it's beautiful, because that's what you want to see in life. Somebody get better, somebody get to be the best that they can possibly be. And Barry's been there to support, and Lamont is always there on his shoulder. You know what I mean? So it's all good, man. I love it.
Errol, Keith Heideck from BoxingScene.com. How you doing? What do you remember from your sparring session with Lamont back in 2011, I think it was? What did you get from that, and how do you remember it going?
It was just great work, man. It was a learning experience. I mean, just because I was an amateur, it's an amateur level. I'm going at a fast pace, just flaring punches off, kind of fighting like American. And Lamont, he's just being patient, blocking, trying to counter, and picking shots off, basically fighting at a pro level, pro pace. And I didn't really understand it until I turned pro and started going 10, 12 rounds. And now I understand what he was doing and things like that.
You guys never sparred together after that, though?
No.
Next question.
Lamont Peterson, Disney Steel, Lois Blackstar.
That last question didn't mean nothing. It wasn't even worth your time. It wasn't even worth your time. So we got about 20 minutes left. We're gonna move on a little bit, I guess. Tomorrow I'm gonna be live at the Cotto press conference. I don't expect any controversy to be there. I guess Cotto's he could be known to be pretty boring, at his press conferences. So I'm going to pay homage. You know what I'm saying? It's Miguel Cotto. It's his last press conference. I've never been in the same building with Miguel Cotto. So, we're going to go. In the meantime, watch a little bit of this, and then we're going to talk about this, what I'm saying?
Hello again, I'm Jim Lampley. Miguel Cotto has earned the devotion of fight fans the world over, consistently delivering high drama throughout his 16 years in the boxing ring. December 2, live here on HBO's World Championship Boxing, Cotto takes part in the final fight of his Hall of Fame career when he matches up against Saddam Ali in Cotto's home away from home, Madison Square Garden. Here now, Miguel Cotto's greatest hits. That was just a perfectly thrown combination by Miguel Cotto. Cotto catching Torres on the end of a punch again, and down goes Ricardo Torres. Hard left hook to the body by Cotto. Left, right, left to the body. Continued assault from the Puerto Rican strong. They are trading shot for shot now. It's a war of wills in round 3. Big left hand by Cotto. Miguel Cotto looks very sharp, very quick in the early going. And down goes Clottey at the end of round 1, and Cotto has a vital point. Good left hook by Miguel Cotto.
Crowd comes out of its seat for that one.
Cotto's fighting as though he doesn't have the same fear of Margarito's punches in their first fight.
Margarito grinning like a jack-o'-lantern as Cotto tries to do surgery on his face. This is the plan for Cotto for sure. Try to land against him along the rope. What a determined effort by Miguel Cotto. Great left hook to the body by Cotto, and another one for good measure.
This is bull Cotto. This is the Cotto that people love to see. Oh! Martinez badly hurt Jim with a left hook.
Left hook hurt Martinez. Almost went down. Cotto going to the body. Down goes Martinez. There's a left hook to the head by Cotto. Cotto moving well on his feet. Knocks heel back into the ropes with the right hand. Fires the left hook to the body again. Miguel Cotto has great timing on his jab, and he is frustrating Canelo Alvarez with his sharp timing right now. Combination for Cotto. Cotto continues the vicious assault. Cotto has energy. What a vicious struggle, and a huge left hand by Cotto. This is brilliant tactics by Miguel Cotto. This is ring generalship as he has trapped Cotto.
Can you give Cotto respect? Because they called Errol Spence. But do you look at it like, well, Cotto's a 154-pounder, but Errol Spence, a lot of people feel he's a natural 154-pounder, started his career at 154. Huge guy overall. So when you look at the guys that they wanted to fight, Miguel Cotto's team, they contacted Danny Garcia. You know, they contacted Errol Spence. The only issue is Golden Boy is getting a lot of shit because they tried to sign Errol Spence. They said, okay, well, you sign with us, we'll give you Cotto. The same thing with Mikey Garcia. You sign with us, we'll give you Cotto. So Cotto's options were Mikey Garcia, Danny Garcia, and Errol Spence. You know? So can you really be mad at Cotto because they didn't try to go out just on Saddam Ali. They didn't say, well, we're going to just take this easy touch. They tried to get Errol Spence for his last fight. In my opinion, that's major news. So Errol Spence talked about it. He said, well, you know, yeah, the fight was there, but you know, I mean, that would have been big for Errol Spence, right? And people, as I'm saying, people are giving Golden Boy shit because they was like, why can't you just give him the fight? You know, we're not trying to sign him. That's what promoters do. You know? The Mikey Garcia situation is different because Golden Boy came back to Mikey Garcia and said, okay, well, listen, we won't try to sign you. You can still fight, you know, Linares. But he chose to go, you know, the Omar Figueroa route. I mean, hey, you know, it's not official yet, but that's looking like who he's going to fight. You know? Yeah, Brook is now at 154 pounds. He should have stayed in Rock Nation. Who should have stayed in Rock Nation? Rock Nation, from my understanding, is in boxing, but they're no longer pumping money into boxing, if that makes sense. You know? So, damn. They're cooking food on the television. I got to turn this off because now I want food. It's like past my lunchtime and my nap time. I got to turn the channel. They're cooking food. Korean barbecue and shit. It's on the Travel Channel. But I'm looking, I'm like, damn, hungry in the motherfucker, man. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say that Rock Nation is done, but yeah, they kind of done. You know, they're not. Did you notice they're not putting on any shows, even like no small shows? They're not building up any fighters or like anything. You know, like they have their fighters and they're like, well, wait here. And you can't, don't put it this way, don't expect for them to be signing any fighters to be throwing money around like they was before. You know, especially when Al Heyman like boxed them out. His box out game back then with that PBC money was strong. You know, he just was grabbing all the boards, you know. See, in boxing, in boxing, you have to be, you know, cool with everybody. You can't just come in trying to bully with money. Because boxing promoters would be like, yeah, we're not going to work with you. You know, and it's like your fighters are going to have a hard time if your organization is small and you can't work with Al Heyman, especially at 147 and 154. You know, so it's complex to talk about, you know, but Rock Nation came in throwing all this money around, you know, trying to sign up guys like Keith Thurman, Deontay Wilder, Adrian Broner, you know. And they just was, the fighters were turning it down. Now, in hindsight, Adrian Broner's getting a lot of shit. Or he has been, I noticed over the last year, because they're like, yo, you've been bitching and complaining about money, but then Rock Nation offered you, he would have got, a guaranteed $15 million or some shit. But the problem is, Rock Nation at that time didn't have, a reputation, even though they had the money to throw around. Al Heyman and PBC was fresh, and, people were really believing in it, this shit's going to take off and go, boom, turn into some old big boxing global extravaganza, and it didn't. So people looking like, you looking stupid not taking the 40 mil. But at the same time, he would have won against Al Heyman. So, even, Adrian Broner was offered money by Bob Arum. And look, you can hate Bob Arum all you want, but one thing about Bob Arum, or more so Top Rank in general, is they keep their fighters active. And fighters don't win lawsuits against them, even if it is guys like Mikey Garcia, who they held hostage for God knows how long. I forgot how long that was. But one thing about Top Rank is they keep their fighters active. And also, they're the most, in the United States, and you can go look it up yourself, even if you go to their website, they're the most organized boxing promotional company there is in the States. So it's, of course, people know that, Bob Arum can be like an old man sometime and be on some old man shit. Old people just be mad about shit. Like little shit, too. So it's just, you got to expect it. So I be wondering, when Bob Arum be talking shit, do people really think, man, he just old, he going to talk some shit? Or do they really be like Dana White be like, Bob Arum's a motherfucking scumbag and, he's a piece of shit? And I would think, well, you would think in your head, he old. Old people be on old people shit, So it's like if I was in their situation, I'd look at Bob Arum and was like, okay, Bob Arum, all right, and everything. Now, obviously, you don't want to bow down to him. But you want to, acknowledge the fact that, all right, man, I know you're going to be on some old crazy shit, because you old. Like when he threw Rigondeaux under the bus. The son of a bitch just won't fight. He was pissed when Rigondeaux fought Joseph Abeko, and people started, let's go look at some highlights. Tell me now, this is the HBO broadcast, right? So tell me what doesn't look right about this picture. What doesn't look right about this picture? Where is it at? HBO, I'm sure HBO probably took it down. They probably took it down. It's not a good enough copy. I'm trying to give y'all a good copy. Damn, I can't give y'all a good copy. Well, anyway, it was so many empty seats on an HBO. You were seeing people get up like, man, fuck that shit. I'm out, man. We ain't watching this bullshit, man. It was people getting up and walking out. So at the press conference afterwards, it wasn't a press conference. It just was Bob Arum and the media crowd around him in ringside. And he just was snapping out. He was pissed off. And it's like, you can't ask Rigondeaux to change his style. But guess what? The crazy thing is, after that, Rigondeaux went on to start breaking people's jaws and shit and having exciting fights. Rigondeaux fights ain't been boring lately. Like his last several fights, especially when he fought Hisashi Yamagata when he broke his jaw. Dude was 6 foot, making that 122. Also, already the story has been set that no matter who wins and how, put it this way, if Lomachenko wins, which he is the favorite to win, people already making excuses like, well, Lomachenko's just too small. Lomachenko is not going to get the credit he deserves if he wins. He's not. It's already been set. They already talking about the weight. They should have met. Put it this way. It's like this, right? How are you going to say they shouldn't meet at 126? And I can understand that. But then on the other end, people will say that Lomachenko's drained. Oh, he had to come down to 126 when he got his body adjusted to 130. In my opinion, it's much more safer for a fighter to come up in weight than to have to come down. I don't know. I don't want to get into it, man, because that's just going to be a whole different debate on fight night. And I'm going to be here, on fight night. That's why I said, I'm not going to the fight. You know, and I'm waiting for ESPN and Top Rank to answer my emails. That's all I'm going to say about that. But I'm going to be here on fight night. I said I'm not going to the fight. You know, I said we're going to be here, and no matter what the fight is going to be like, we're going to sit here, you know, after the fight, we're going to talk about it. So as I expect, man, I'm expecting it to be some sweet sciencey shit. So I'm going to start my day nice and early. You know, I'm going to get, you know, dinner done, you know, by like 7, 8 o'clock. You know, by 7, 8 o'clock, I'm going to be kicking back. You know, I'm going to make me some tea. You know, I'm going to put some wood in the fireplace. You know, because you might get tired. You might go to sleep. You might go to sleep. You might go to sleep, man. You know, so I suggest, like, you guys, like, even though you're going to be hype and everything like that, just make sure you get all your shit done early in the day, you know? No, I don't want to go to the fight. I could have went. You know, like, we in good with Top Rank. I could have went. You know, but I said, I want to be home to cover this fight, you know? I want to be home. You know, that's a fight, like, where I want to chill and be in the crib, you know? Who I got? Put it this way. My heart is saying Rigo, but I don't want to say it. My heart is saying Rigo, yo. My heart is saying Rigo. My heart is saying Rigo. I might as well just spill the beans, man. I think Rigo can do it. But he's got to do a shitload of movement because you know Lomachenko going to come out there with that matrix shit. And you know he's going to try to showboat. He's going to try to outbox and try to make Rigondeaux look stupid. You got to think that's how he roll, right? That's not no new shit. He going to come out there and try to do all that shit he be doing, all that matrix shit. You know, so Rigo's gotta make his punches stick. Now, I've already noticed in camp, he's looking a little better. He's looking a little bigger. He's looking a little bigger, you know? So he has the skills, but sometimes he gets a little too overzealous, and just like Felix Trinidad back in the day, and just like Gamboa, he could be winning the fight, and he'll go down at least once off of some dumb shit. You know? I don't know, man. I expect it to be some sweet sciencey type shit, man. You know, so I'm going to make sure all my shit is done. You know, because sometimes it be some fights that be too sweet sciencey that I'll cancel, like my late night stream on some random shit. I'd be like, nope, no stream tonight. That should have just disappear off your feed. That shit happened to me. What was the last fight that happened to me yet? Not the Kovalev fight. I forgot a few weeks back. I did some fights, covered some fights, and I was like, man, the Danny Jacobs Luis Arias fight. And I was like, nah, I can't do it. I'm sitting there watching the fight shit, and I'm like, man, I'm getting tired of shit, you know? But, you know, for those who don't know, we got a podcast starting, you know, so a podcast, and people keep telling me shit I already know. Yes, I know it's got to be the same time every week. I've been researching. My shit's going to be nice, you know? So I got a month to get everything together, so we good. My research is done. Now we got to put together everything, you know? We're going to have guests. And, you know, I want boxers and promoters and shit. Man, you selling fights on here. We not, you know, I don't want people coming on here talking about, you know, dumb shit. We're here to sell the fight. You know, so we give the people the ticket information and what network, and then you talk some shit. You know, you sell these tickets, motherfucker. You sell these tickets, you know? Because I'll say it. I'll be like, listen, man, y'all better buy these motherfucking tickets because somebody getting beat the fuck up. You know, see, they can't say it. I can say it, you know? I'll be like, yo, this fight, somebody gonna get beat the fuck up Saturday, y'all. I'm telling you. And then I start talking about the gossip about like, yo, and then he was at such and such, and they said he ain't passed a drug test because, yo, somebody getting beat the fuck up, yo. You see? That's it, you know? Selling the shit out that motherfucking fight. Rigo versus Donaire too. Nah, Donaire is in the mix with guys like Carl Frampton, Leo Santa Cruz, Abner Marison, all those things. He's in the mix with that. Even though he's a shell of himself, you know, some say Nicholas Walters still has his soul over on ESPN. He's got his soul somewhere. He keep it in a little Filipino handmade pouch. There's a little glow of light in there. That's Donito Donaire's soul. And Donaire was the man too. He was doing that Roman Gonzalez shit before Roman Gonzalez found out that it wasn't cool to be moving up in all these weights and then thinking you're going to keep dominating and then getting beat the fuck up. You know? Literally, the same thing happened with Donaire that happened with Roman Gonzalez. First, he fought this guy, Sipiwe Vieca, right? Sipiwe Vieca wasn't no bum. So you saw as Donaire was moving up in the weights that, you know, his power wasn't there no more. He wasn't just dominating it. And that's usually what happens when fighters move up in weight, especially when you move up 2 or more weight classes. You know, so when it came to Roman Gonzalez as of late, when I saw he met Sorosaket Rungvisai, you know, and he couldn't take his punches, and I said, oh, in the rematch, he gonna knock him out. You know, moved up too much weight. You know, it's been happening. Everybody can't be, you know, the great Emmanuel Dapidran Pacquiao. And you know he ain't done. They saying he's coming back soon. You know, he's getting sick and tired of the politics and all the sinning. He's been over there killing drug lords and shit, like putting drug lords to death. No bullshit. Don't sell no drugs. If you're from the Philippines, don't sell no drugs. Man, he gonna get you. Man, I'm dead serious. He's gonna kill you. Don't sell no drugs over there, Filipinos. He's going to kill you. You know? So he's saying he getting tired of that shit. You know, he want to come back, and if he comes back, he's still the number one draw in boxing, no matter how you slice it. Yo, they saying Danny Garcia may be fighting Adrian Broner. Yo, well, for one, Danny Garcia is back in camp. Danny Garcia's back in camp. You know, so he's fighting somebody. It's probably going to be next month. If not next month, then definitely in February. You know, I was thinking he might fight Mikey Garcia. What if they pull a power move? What if it's not Adrian Broner? Or what if it's not Omar Figueroa? What if it's Danny Garcia? Garcia. Huh? That sounds stupid though, don't it? That's a stupid hashtag. No, it's catchy though. Garcia. Hashtag Garcia. You know, nah, that sounds really dumb. Garcia would kill AB. I hope he. That's a good fight on paper, though. But also, that can be a career-defining fight for Adrian Broner, because if he loses that, you know, and he got to stop beating people up, man, in the street. What's up with him? You know? And then dude had the nerve to rat on him. I said, listen, if some shit ever go down, like, I'm not fucking telling, nigga. Excuse my language. My bad. It's like, I think it's common knowledge. Don't let Adrian Broner walk up on you. You know? If you see Adrian Broner, he like, yo, what you say? You better be like, oh, you got to start swinging. You know what I'm saying? Don't let him walk up on you. So dude was asking for it. Don't let anybody walk up on you. Isn't it like common sense? You know? Don't let anybody walk up on you, you know? No. Manny let us know for sure he does not like gay people. Yeah, he don't like them. Let's not even talk about that. He don't, no. See, Manny is not who people be thinking he is, yo. Like, he is like a nice guy, no, like right now. Hold up. Damn, we got to go for another 12 minutes. Y'all got me running my mouth. So we're ending in 12 minutes. Yeah, you know, Manny is a nice guy, man, but he's a savage too. And also he got this goon that roll with him. His name is Boo Boy. No bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Boo Boy will smack the shit out you. You know? So Manny not who people, you know, like he's literally like he don't like gay people. You know, he just don't like them. You know, he want them dead. I didn't say it. Allegedly from, I'm interpreting that. I'm not trying to get sued. Let me just stop. Let me stop. You know, then he wants all the drug dealers dead. If he catch you, he's saying he's gonna kill you. You know. And then he getting robbed by Jeff Horn. So that's why he was like, man, fuck that rematch. I ain't going back to Australia. I'm going to go kill some drug dealers. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to go sentence some drug dealers to death. And then pray and stuff and give away money. Yeah, Andrade is in some shit, man, doing that bullshit again. You know? He said, I mean, see, his excuse is kind of valid because he didn't expect to fight this soon, I guess. You know, but in his career, he needs to take these fights, man, and get his name. Because people would have been like, oh, shit, he's fighting again a couple months later. And he's fighting a known name in Derevchenko. You know, or an up-and-coming name. People would have been on his side. So now it's more people looking at him like, yo, who are you going to fight next? But more importantly, when are you going to fight next? Because he'll have this fight, and we won't see him again until next year around this time. So in my opinion, Andre has to be back by no later than March. He's got to get in the mix. But him and Danny Jacobs are supposed to be there December the 16th for Saunders versus Lemieux. So they're both trying to get that fight. So it's kind of like this unofficial tournament going on at 160, where HBO now has the cream of the crop of 160. If you want a big fight at 160, you got to be on HBO. Just like if you want a big fight at 147 or definitely at 154, you got to holler at Al Heyman. You see what I'm saying? Unless you want that WBO or whatever, you know. So looking, you know, at Andre's situation, it's like you got to stay active, bro, because fans are like really not really believing in you, I guess. You know, I guess. Tank Davis has a lawsuit right now. I heard about that. You know, I heard about that. I've been critical of Tank Davis, you know, because it's just like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Dude just seemed to be moving too fast. You know? Especially like you're too young to be losing your belt on the scales, bro. Like, it's a world championship. You from the hood. You got a world championship. You from the hood. I can't say it no better than that. You know? They dropped the charges. That's what's up. You know what that mean to me? That means that I got that. I'm saying as they should, you know? But whatever the case may be, you can't be doing dumb shit like that. Like, your belt's supposed to be with you everywhere you go. You know what I'm saying? And you young. How come you can't make weight, bro? You know, what are you doing? No, I ain't do no Mansawa versus Kuzmin post-fight video. For one, I haven't seen the fight, and I heard it ended in a technical draw off of some nasty headbutts. So if I didn't already hear about it, then I would have did a video on it. You know, when I heard that, I said, that's some bullshit. Because it's like, it's no decision. So it's like, now what? But I'm going to watch it eventually. You know, sometime in the next few days, I guess. I wonder what I should have for dinner. Now I want some Korean barbecue. I think I'm going to order some. See what's up with Bixby. But anyway, yeah, Cotto fight this weekend. Tomorrow, as I said, I'm going to New York for the Cotto Saddam Ali press conference. You know, okay, obviously Ivan Lewis, if the video is not up, for crying out loud, no disrespect, if the video is not up, if you don't see it on the channel, then I didn't do it. And I talked about Char versus Houston off of my last live stream. For crying out loud, man. You're pissing me off. Trying to make me feel bad or something? Yes, I know I should be covering it, but I'm working on some things, and we're going to be covering all the fights soon. You know, I've been doing this shit for damn near 7 years now, man. Even though I had like a little 2-year gap in between, still 7 years. You know, I'm not doing this shit for my health. I'm not doing this for my health, man. I'm making some major advancements so that you guys can get all the news you need from my beautiful website, from our social media presence. You know, people forget, man, I got to run all this shit every day. The videos are the easy part, man. Who you got winning? Errol, Spence? Well, first of all, I got to see Terrence Crawford in a fight at 147. That's first of all. You know, so I can't talk about that, bro. Like, I don't see doing predictions on, you know, this. It's hard to do predictions on that because then you're relying on what? Off of like your own personal thoughts that are not based off of like any like statistics or anything. Because one guy has never fought at 147, if I'm correct. Now, I believe he fought at 142 before. Let me go check real quick. You know how certain fighters, like start, their career at a certain way. For example, they said Lamont Peterson was new to 147. No, he wasn't. When Danny Garcia fought at 147, he wasn't new to 147. Yeah, Terrence Crawford fought at 141, which is, you might say 147, in 2009, and in 2009, in 2010, and 2012. So those are the type of stats I'll be looking at. Shit like that. It's like, okay, well, it's not a new division for you. We know you've been at that weight before. We got 6 minutes left, by the way. Yeah, Crawford is special. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong, he is. I'm not gonna lie. But he's gonna be taking punches that we've seen him take from smaller fighters. Like, how's his chin gonna hold up? So there's questions. So I want to see him against a nice, solid 147-pounder. And I'll take Jeff Horn, if that's his first fight at 147, to be able to see how he looks, because Jeff Horn, we saw when he came out with Pacquiao, he was on some Madonna shit. He wasn't coming out to try to box. And Jeff Horn was getting fucked up those later rounds. Mikey versus Figueroa at Barclays? Nah, because if it happens on January the 27th, they're not going to do 2 straight weeks of boxing in the same arena. Also, it makes much more sense for that fight to be on the West Coast. It makes so much more sense for that fight to be on the West Coast. It makes so much more sense for Mikey Garcia versus Omar Figueroa to be on the West Coast. Or, when the last time they've been down Texas for anything, PBC? Go down there. See what's up down there. Could they do Vegas? I don't know. Oscar Valdez versus Mark. Damn, you're pulling out. Fuck yeah, Jeff Horn is sacred food. Mikey versus Figueroa in Long Island. What does Long Island have a big El Mexicano population or Hispanic population? What's the Hispanic populace look like down there? I mean, up there. I don't know. I've only seen. I don't even know who. I don't even think I've seen Mark Mixayo fight before. That's crazy, right? That sounds crazy, right? But don't get me wrong. I watch like a lot of fights, and even if I did see some of these people fight before, I can't always associate the names. But I don't know, man. And stop reposting the same shit. I'm not fucking blind. I see it. Let me look this guy up. Is that guy even real? Yeah, he is. Have I seen this guy fight before? I don't think so. Have I? He's from the Philippines. I probably haven't seen him fight before. So how would I see him fight if he always fights in the Philippines, bro? Do I gotta check the footage? Is that footage? I'm done answering your questions. No, just because PBC in a relationship with Barclays. Yeah, but they're not going to do it. They're not going to do. They're saying Garcia versus Figueroa is going to happen on January the 27th. When you have Spence Peterson January the 20th. So they're not going to do that. Oh, Elizabeth Lee in here slinging the hearts for sex. Hey, yo, go see what's up with Elizabeth Lee. See if she's legit. Give me the word. See what's up with her. Wilder versus Joshua. I don't want to talk about that, man. We already did a whole video on that. What was that, 2 days ago? We did a whole video on that subject, man. No way. It needs to happen, but it's going to be Joshua versus Parker next. Because the people asked for it. The people want it. How many people done slid up in Elizabeth Lee's DMs? Oh, is that your sister, Corey? Are y'all in cahoots? You and Elizabeth in cahoots? The Forum already has a show on the 27th. Yeah, it depends. Yeah, see? Where they going to do it at? But it might not even be on that date, you know? All right, man. I'm going to watch fucking Masayo versus Hayashi. I'm going to watch it. All right, relax, man. I'll watch it later. Jeez. All right, guys, I got to go. I'll see you guys tomorrow in New York around this time. No, it's going to be at noon tomorrow, the Cotto versus Ali press conference. TstreeT Controversy. This is TstreeT Controversy Live. Please subscribe.